Welcome back. Welcome to unit number 2. In the very first lecture of unit number 2, we will have a quick revision about the role of independent system operator. We have seen that the independent system operator is very crucial in different types of restructured markets. I hope that by the end of this video lecture, you will be able to describe two different market structures. One is pool market structure, the other one is open access market structure. And I hope that you'll be able to describe the role of independent system operator in either of these markets in detail. So I will start with the responsibilities of ISO, a quick review of that. And next we will discuss about the two different market structures which have been followed across the globe with a quick comparison among these two, followed by the functions of ISO, a review of functions of ISO, and in particular the functions in these two models. So let's start with the role of independent system operator, where, as we have already discussed, independent system operator is a centralized entity. He monitors the pool operations. Normally there will be a pool operator, but most of the markets they will be having a independent system operator to monitor the pool operations. If there is no pool, even though if there is no pool, then he will be handling the transmission services. So on the whole, in any of these models, whether it is a pool model, pool co-model, or bilateral contract model, or hybrid model, the independent system operator has the primary responsibility of providing non-discriminatory access to transmission lines based upon the requests from different participants in the power system. So he has a prime responsibility of providing these transmission services. Apart from this, he is solely responsible for ensuring the system security and reliability, which means that he will be handling the energy balance. And apart from that, he must provide fair and equitable transmission tariffs. He must levy transmission tariffs, because if somebody accesses the transmission lines, so the tariff for transmissions, what we call it as transmission pricing, that will be decided by the independent system operator, and he ensures that it is fair and equitable to all the participants. Apart from this, the ISO will offer additional services, other system services, what we call them as ancillary services. We have seen a list of ancillary services, just like reactive power management, frequency management, and congestion management. So all these types of ancillary services, they will be provided by independent system operator. And moving on, let's have a quick look about the two types of market structures which are evolving in different countries. Earlier in the olden days, we used to have bilateral contracts model, which was predominant in most of the electricity markets across the globe, where the seller and the buyer used to have a mutual contract between them on the sale of electricity. But later on, since this practice was assumed to be found to be very anti-competitive, so the seller and buyer used to trade the electricity at a very fixed price. So rather than selling at a fixed price, both were interested to trade electricity at a very competitive price. So what do you mean by competitive price? See, if the demand is high, then automatically what happens? The price goes up. If supply is high, if demand is high, price will be moving up. If price is high, then automatically it leads to supply will be moving up. If supply is high, then automatically what happens? Price will come down. If price comes down, then automatically again what happens? Demand goes up. So this is a complete cycle of economics, where if price is low, automatically what happens? Supply also will be going down. If supply is going down again, automatically what happens? Again the price will be up. So it is just like a circle where it truly reflects the competition. The price will be decided by the availability of supply and demand. So based upon the market conditions, you may get electricity. You may trade electricity at a very competitive price. So both the sellers and buyers use it to go to a common place, which we call it as a pool. Yeah, a pool. So most of the countries, they started implementing this pool type of structure where the sellers and buyers use it to have a common place for trading of electricity. So this common place, what we call it as an pool. Now there is an option for the country. Let us suppose if there is a country, it wants to implement a pool type of structure rather than the very old bilateral contracts model. Then they do have two options: whether to fully implement a pool where all sellers and buyers must participate in the pool and trade the electricity, or otherwise a partial pool operation where you will be allowing bilateral contracts and pool. So if full pool is implemented, which means that all the sellers and buyers are to trade only this one, it is called as a pool market. Otherwise, if you are implementing a partial pool type of structure where the seller, either he can go with a bilateral contract or he can go with a pool model, then this type of model, what we call it as an hybrid model in unit number 1, it is called as an open access model, where the customer is having an open access whether to go with the bilateral contracts or to go with the pool. So this type of structure is called as an open access model in this particular unit. So we will compare these two markets. One is a complete pool market, the other one is an open access market, which is a combination of pool and bilateral contracts. Now we will go with the first one, the pool model, where in the pool model it is just like what we have studied in our unit number 1. This is one of the common markets where the independent system operator, he takes the bids from GENCOs and finalizes MCP and gives instructions to the GENCOs and DISCOMs or the other entities regarding the scheduling of electric power. So ISO is responsible for scheduling, dispatch, and after that settlements also it will be carried out by. So 3 things will be carried out by scheduling, dispatch and settlement. All these things will be carried out by independent system operator. So that's why market settlement, including scheduling and dispatch, all 3 will be carried out by independent system operator. Apart from this, he looks over the transmission system and he finalizes the transmission pricing also, and any security aspects also will be taken care by independent system operator only. Okay. And it exists in most of the markets: UK, Australian, Latin American and some of the US markets. These do follow this pool model. The other model where a partial pool is implemented in addition to the bilateral contracts, it is called as an open access market. Open access market is predominantly dominated by bilateral transactions, but there exists a small pool. And one such market is Nordic market. A Nordic market, you know that I'll show you in the, I think, Nordic market where we do have Finland, Norway and Sweden. These countries, they have come together to form a Nord pool. These countries are called as Nordic countries. So there was a common pool. It is still there. Common pool called as a Nord pool. It is just like a simple pool. So predominantly the transactions in this electricity market will be bilateral contracts. Apart from that, there is a small pool where the percentage of transactions is somewhere around 20 to 30% of transactions. They will be carried out in the pool. The rest of all 70 to 80% they will be carried out by bilateral transactions. So in this type of system, bulk of energy transactions are directly organized between the generator and customer, which means they are nothing but bilateral contracts. And in these bilateral contracts, as we have already discussed, the ISO has very minimal role in generation, scheduling or dispatch. So ISO is responsible only for system operation, providing transmission lines and maintaining the system security. The role of ISO is very minimal in these type of things. So mainly he is limited to only maintenance of the system. So if we compare these two type of structures, in the open access structure, bulk of the energy transactions are carried out as bilateral trades, whereas pool market will also be there. Most of the times it is limited to only day ahead spot markets. Whereas in a pool type of market, all energy transactions are carried out through the pool itself. And it can be also day ahead market or hour ahead market or a future market also, you can plan for that. And in this open access model, ISO is not responsible for market administration, generation scheduling or dispatch. Here, he is responsible for scheduling, settlements, unit commitment, and also MCP also will be determined by ISO only. And here, the markets is carried out by separate entity, and participation in the market is not mandatory because 70 to 80% will be carried out by bilateral contracts. Here, market administration is carried out by independent system operator. Here, there will be separate market operator. Here, it will be carried out by independent system operator. And the participation of GENCOs is mandatory. So, if we compare the operation in either of these things, in open access model, ISO is very much limited to security and control, procuring necessary ancillary services. Only transmission sector he will be looking after. But whereas here, he does all the jobs apart from these things. Okay, here he is limited only to these things. Here, apart from all above things, he is having these other services also. So one such example is Nordic markets. Here, UK, Australian markets, Latin American markets. They are all pool markets. Now, let's have a quick review of functions of independent system operator. Whether it is a pool market or bilateral contract market or open access market, you know that independent system operator has predominantly three major operations. The first thing, as already mentioned, system security and reliability is his first and foremost thing, and serve electric power at the highest quality which it can be by offering ancillary services or any other things. And he must promote economic efficiency and equity. So fair pricing must be there, non-discriminatory access must be there. So all these are to be looked at by independent system operator. So that's fine. An independent system operator always lays down some rules for transactions between suppliers and customers. And regarding the scheduling and dispatch of generators also, and also for loads, network services, energy markets. For all of these things, an independent system operator will lay down some rules. So coming to the end, we'll have a quick review of independent system operator. What is his role? We have already seen that in the table. So there is not much difference between the two models, since both the market structures, they do feel that independent system operator is a very important he is a very important entity in either of these markets. But in open access model, there is a greater flexibility for the consumers. They can choose either bilateral contracts or pool access model. And in this case, the ISO must have a greater responsibility because he is supposed to coordinate both bilateral contracts and also pool markets. So in deregulated power systems, if you carefully see, there is a distinct difference between the operator activities in the control room of an independent profit-seeking GENCO in relation to those in control room of systems independent operating authority ISO. So there is a very clear difference between the operations of a GENCO and ISO. It depends upon the markets that we will see in the next lectures. So I hope now you are able to understand the concept of pool and open access markets, and I hope that you are able now to describe the role of independent system operator in these two markets. So thank you. These are the questions. Compare the two market structures based upon the role of ISO and which one is suitable for Indian markets. You are supposed to give reasons. Thank you. And this is a textbook which you can follow.